You're tuned in to Super Talk 1270 and Free for All Friday. Compelling local talk at 11 o'clock. Free for All Friday features groups and organizations that are plugged into progress here in Central North Dakota. Our rotating panel includes members of the Bismarck Downtowners, the Mandan Progress Organization, the Bismarck Mandan Chamber of Commerce, and representatives from Pride of Dakota. You're invited to call in and join the discussion. It's Free for All Friday on Super Talk 1270.
Good morning, this is Dot Frank on a Free for All Friday with Super Talk 1270, representing the Bismarck Mandan Home Builders Association. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I'm excited to have a couple guests with us over the course of the next hour or so. First up on our list is Miss Lindsay Matters. She's the chairwoman of this year's Fall Parade of Homes. So we'll be talking about that event in particular, which is right around the corner. And then coming up after the half-hour break, we have a member of our board of directors, and that's Mr. Chad Moldenhauer from K&L Homes, who'll spend some time talking with us as a participant in the Parade of Homes as a builder, and then kind of just give us an update on what it's like in the market here for home builders, home buyers, and anybody interested in making that transition to home ownership. So first off, I'd like to introduce all the listeners this morning to Lindsay Matter. Lindsay is a very active associate member of our organization. As I'd mentioned, she's chairing the Parade of Homes this year, and she works for Starian Financial, an expert in all levels when it comes to financial matters associated with homes, home buying, home ownership, home mortgages, home equity lines of credit, homes. So welcome, Lindsay.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we are excited. Our level of anticipation is building as we get close to those dates associated with the Fall Parade of Homes. This year, our Fall Parade of Homes falls on September 25th through the 28th. Unlike the Spring Parade of Homes, which spans 2 weekends, this Parade of Homes is spread out over the course of 4 days. So we start on a Thursday evening. The homes open up at 6 p.m. You'll be able to make your way around to as many as you can get in one night until 8:30. We'll do that again on Friday evening from 6 to 8:30. And then the homes will be available for most of the day on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's hours for the Parade of Homes would be 11 to 5. And then on Sunday, noon to 5. So 4 days, plenty of opportunities to make your way through our homes. And Lindsay, this is another phenomenal parade when it comes to the total number of homes available for people to check out. Where did we end up at with homes?
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting year. There's lots of great houses that will be available for everybody to view. This year we are showcasing 37 homes. So from Bismarck, Mandan, the Lincoln area, there's lots of variety, lots of price points. So there should be something to fit everybody's needs.
You know, I was looking at the lineup of homes that we have, and there's some kind of interesting statistics that you can pull. As Lindsay mentioned, we've got 37 homes that'll be on display over the course of those 4 days, the 25th through the 28th of this month. Those 37 homes were actually built by 26 different builders. So we've got some builders with multiple
variety,
homes.
yeah.
So, despite the fact that there's 26 builders, still is a great spread. You'll see lots of different styles, building techniques, design ideas. When you take a look at what the Parade of Home means from an investment perspective, now keep in mind that home building really fuels the economy, and that's something that's given some high regard across the country. When you look at the recovery that a lot of states are experiencing, they're keeping close tabs on home starts and home construction. Just for the homes in our book that we have priced, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. I'll have Lindsay kind of explain to us why some homes are priced and some aren't. Just for the homes that are priced, we've got 30 of those. It represents over $12 million worth of real estate for our community. $12 million, which I think is just incredible. As I mentioned, and Lindsay, I'd like you to kind of enlighten the listeners. We do have homes that are priced clearly in our book and online on that listing. But then we have a few of them that say undisclosed price or price not disclosed. Can you share with the listeners what that means, why we have that designation?
Certainly. So with the homes that you'll see on the Fall Parade, there's the beginning price point that will start at $199,900, and that home will be, again, the price is listed and is available to vote and for the community to vote on their favorites or in each specific price point. So again, all the prices are listed. So at $199,900 all the way up to $650,000. Then you'll see 7 additional homes that do not have price points listed or they're tagged as undisclosed price. These homes may already be occupied by homeowners. They may already be pre-solds. So they're keeping the price disclosed as, to maintain the homeowner's privacy if they are already living in that property or have already committed to a purchase.
Absolutely. And we have, some people that kind of scratch their heads when they see that on the back of their ticket because, as Lindsay referenced, you have the availability, and we really encourage people to vote for their favorites in certain price categories. We've spent some time as a committee clustering homes to keep them within a certain price range so you can choose your favorites. That really helps the builders out to determine what styles buyers really appreciate right now. So we've got those different price points. But the ones that aren't priced, as Lindsay had referenced, a lot of those are pre-sold. So the builder might have built a custom home for someone, or they sold it in advance of the parade, but the buyer is still allowing spectators to come through and see how their builder constructs those homes, and out of privacy for those homeowners and just respect for them, we don't share those prices. But that also brings up a good point when it comes to the prices that are listed. These homes are available.
They are. Yep. So with the 30 homes that are available, like I said before, the price points starting at $199.9 will be the first price category to vote on. So the homes in this category will be just judged amongst the other participants, if you will, in that price category. So that is going to be homes from $199 all the way up to $239.9. The next price category is from $240 to $270. The next to $290 to $320. The next $370 to $440. Followed by $460 to $500. $540 to $600, and $640 to $650. So there's a big variety. There's lots of great houses to see, lots of different styles like Dot mentioned. So this is really a jam-packed parade this fall. We're excited.
We talked about, and Lindsay, you shared with the listeners what the entry-level home was. The lowest priced home, or the most modestly priced home on the list, was $199.9 compared to the highest priced home that we have on the list, which was, $649,000. So quite a spread. One thing that's really interesting this go around with the Fall Parade of Homes, particularly compared to the Spring Parade, is the average price. Now, Lindsay came on the show with us several months ago when we were preparing for the Spring Parade of Homes, and we talked a lot about the average price then being around $424,000. This time around, the average price of our homes is $400,000. So we've seen a $24,000 drop in the price of the homes. Talking to some of the builders and asking them, why the change, it sounds like we've got a larger inventory of spec homes available. So builders are building these with the availability and intention of marketing them to buyers. And so that tends to change because you don't have a lot of the custom decisions that pre-contracted homes bring. And so the average price this time around is $400,000. The median price came in at $389.9. And so when you're talking about attracting people who are moving into their first home, we've got 6 homes that are priced in that $370 to $440 price range, or entry-level prices, $199.9 to $265. So that first-time home buyer, we've got 8 homes available for their viewing. Beyond that, we've got homes for people that are looking maybe to move up to more space, better amenities, and the like. And so that's something that's really kind of interesting to see when you look at the numbers specifically for this parade. Lindsay, when we come back, we'll talk more about the events. There's some exciting new features associated with the Fall Parade of Homes. Do you want to give them a little bit of teaser as to what they can expect after this break?
Well, there'll be some helpful, very techy features to help you visit these homes faster, quicker, and help them stick in your memory a little longer.
Excellent. Well, with that in mind, please stay tuned over this break. You're listening to Super Talk 1270.
Right now, 52.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in again. If you're just joining us, this is Dot Frank with the Bismarck Mandan Home Builders Association on a free-for-all Friday on Super Talk 1270. We are amped up, excited for the Fall Parade of Homes, ready to bring and make available 37 different houses for people to get into, peek around, hopefully get some ideas, inspiration, and sign some contracts with our builder members. And I've got Lindsay Matter, who is the chair of this year's Parade of Homes, joining me. We're talking about everything Parade of Homes. Just got done talking about the lineup specifically. 37 homes available, a variety of price points, starting at $199.9, going all the way up to $650,000, built by 25 different area builders. And before we took a break, Lindsay alluded to some new technology we're employing when it comes to this year's Parade of Homes. But before we get into that technology and we share with all you gadget interested folks out there how to access this technology associated with the parade. Lindsay brought up a good point during break, and that's when we reference the difference in prices. So our median price or our average prices for the spring parade of homes that we hosted were about $424,000. Now that compares to this fall's lineup of an average of $400,000. So we've seen that come down. And I mentioned that a lot of that has to do with the types of homes that are being constructed right now. And Lindsay, do you want to talk about, you were sharing with me over break that it's not an indication that the market is easing up when it comes to the valuations associated with construction.
Right. Certainly not declining. Our real estate is appreciating here faster and stronger than ever. And I feel confident that we're in the best place. We live in the best state in the country and in the best communities, and that our values will only continue to rise. So like Dot had said, home purchasing, it's a solid investment, continues to be. But this fall, with the average price home at $400,000, it's the builders making some different choices with the spec homes that they're offering. So if you do decide that one of these parade homes is the home for you, that doesn't mean that you still can't make some of these special touches, some special customizations, and really make it your own. But so with that price point, they're just looking at appealing to just even a little bit larger market with some of these spec homes.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this app, right? We as a committee brought forward the idea and received some rave reviews from those who put in some work behind the scenes on the Parade of Homes regarding a new app for parade goers, and it is Parade Smart. Parade Smart is a company that works with home builders associations across the country, and they've developed an app that has some technology behind it to help you parade goers out when it comes to navigating the route associated with parade. Now, I remember in the spring Parade of Homes, in Lindsay's letter in our parade booklet, we talked about the distances you could travel if you went from home number 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, which is in price order compared to, if you really look at the map, you go to the clusters of homes based on the different developments. Now, you always have a little bit of a difficult time navigating the community, particularly with new home construction, because these are new streets, new developments. There's maybe some less familiarity. And so this Parade Smart app will come in extremely handy for those folks who want to get out, take some notes, find particular routes to their home. So do you want to talk about kind of the inspiration behind the Parade Smart app and why the committee was so responsive to developing it?
Certainly. So the Parade Smart app, I have to tell you guys, it really couldn't be cooler. In years past, how we would navigate through these different homes, that whether I'd be with my friends or coworkers, my husband, however, he would be driving and I would be in the middle of my parade book looking at the maps and telling him how to get to some of these streets, or turn left or turn right or wrong way. But this year with the Parade Smart app, all of these houses that may not be on official maps yet, the coordinates and the locations of them have been already, that we've driven the routes, we've provided the coordinates. And so with this Parade Smart app, instead of going and having, say, Siri, bring me to 3106 Sleepy Hollow Loop, it's going to, you'll be able to push in the coordinates and it's going to bring you right to it with step-by-step driving directions, which is definitely cool. It will also show you an image of the house that you're attempting to view for on our parade route. So you'll know that when you're pulling up to this yellow house that you in fact are at the correct house. We're so excited about it. It's just really slick.
Yeah, and the Parade Smart app right now, it is available for download in the Android market. So if you've got Google Play Store, you can search Parade Smart. You'll find Parade Smart in the store. You download it. You'll have a variety of different markets to choose from. It's free. Make sure you choose the Bismarck-Mandan Parade of Homes so you're not sending yourself somewhere out of state. But like Lindsay had referenced, it'll have all of the homes in our parade route, starting with home number 1 all the way to home number 37. You can click on the home, see the picture of it, read the description.
The bio of the builder.
The bio of the builder. You'll have the ability to kind of map your route. So if there's specific homes that you have to get to, you can put them on a route map so that it takes you to those homes in particular, turn-by-turn directions. The other thing that's really cool is it's an opportunity for you to make comments on particular houses. So you're walking through, rather than taking notes the old-fashioned way with pen and paper, You can put them right on your smartphone. The other thing that's really neat is there's an opportunity for you to contact the builder through the app. And this app will stay active and live long past the parade, so you'll know whether or not that home that you visited during September 25th through the 28th is still available for sale or not. And so it's a really great opportunity for us to kind of add some interactivity to the parade route. Also, the ease of navigation is tremendous. What we'll be doing this weekend, as Lindsay has referenced, is going out and getting GPS coordinates so that we can ensure that you are sent directly to that home site. So neat new app that we're launching with this fall Parade of Homes.
And again, it's the Parade Smart app. And once you get into the app, you'll want to reference our immediate community, the Bismarck-Mandan community, to make sure that you're looking at the parade in the right
Absolutely.
So.
And to make things a little bit easier on you, what we'll also do is we'll be providing a link on our website, which is bmhba.com, with instructions on where to go to get that download. And then also keep your eyes out for our parade magazines and the ads that are coming out in the newspaper for a QR code that you can scan. I'll take you directly to it. So let's talk quick about the magazine. We have a magazine. So not everybody wants to use the smartphone to read through the descriptions of the homes. We've got people that like the hard copy print. And we make a really robust magazine available for the Fall Parade of Homes. Do you want to share with the listeners where people can pick that up?
Sure. So the week of the parade, you will be able to pick up our 63-page color print parade magazine that'll describe to you all of the homes that you're attempting to view that are on the parade route, and it's available at Dan Supermarket locations as well as Cashwise Supermarket as well. So there'll be lots and lots of magazines, or if you prefer to use the Parade Smart app, you can do that as well. But a really nice magazine this year. We've really put a lot of time and work into it, so we think it's top notch.
Yeah, and in addition to the home details, the map, the roster of all the builders and participating homes, we also fill the magazine with some articles that are appropriate for home buyers and homeowners, how-to type of articles, considerations for financing and the like. So it's a really great educational piece for people out there too. The other thing that I'd like to go into, which is featured on the cover of the magazine, Lindsay, is reference to some prizes.
Yeah, this year we had generous sponsors from Carpet World and also from JR Vacuum and Sewing Center that they have donated some awesome prizes. So you'll want to make sure that when you do turn in your ballot for your votes at the last parade house you'll view, that you do put your contact information on your ticket or your ballot to make sure that if we do draw your name, that we know how to reach you to inform you that you have won some of the fabulous prizes, again, donated from Carpet World Bismarck and also J&R Vacuum and Sewing Center.
So Carpet World is donating a $1,000 gift card. I mean, I could do some serious damage with $1,000.
I as well.
And the other option that we'll be drawing for is a vacuum. It's actually a Riccar Premium Radiance from J&R Sewing and Vacuum Center, valued at $1,529.
Yeah, like I said, lots of great prizes. So we're excited this year. Make sure to fill out your ballots and complete so we know how to reach you if you're the lucky winner.
Excellent. And so let's talk about how you even get a ballot, right? So we need to get the ballot before we can complete the ballot, vote on it, and then submit it at our last home. How do people get tickets to the parade this year?
So you can buy your ticket at the first parade house that you stop at. So it doesn't matter the one. There's no defined starting location, but you can purchase your parade ballot again from the first house that you arrive at. This year, parade tickets are $10, so only $10 to view 37 awesome houses over the course of 4 days. You really can't take yourself farther for $10 than what this is going to provide in the 4 days of entertainment.
Absolutely. And one thing that's really, really exciting, I think everything's exciting, from the prizes to the homes on the route to our smart app. The other thing that's really, really exciting this year is our opportunity to make a difference through a charitable contribution. And I kind of associate our chance with this Parade of Homes when it comes to providing to a charitable cause like crowdfunding, right? So you've heard of Kickstarter campaigns where lots of people give a small amount and it adds up to be millions of dollars. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to the news lately when it comes to Kickstart. They have a new product out there that was seeking funding of $50,000, and it was for a cooler, the coolest cooler. Have you heard about that?
I haven't.
So it's this coolest cooler that was looking to generate some money through Kickstart, and they were seeking $50,000. They have hit a $13 million mark, and that's just the power of people. Lots of people giving a small amount to a great cause, and we're doing that this year with the Parade of Homes and our partnership with the Homes for Our Troop organization. Can you talk to the listeners about Homes for Our Troops?
Yep, absolutely. So this year with your $10 entry fee to the parade, not only will you see the 37 great houses, but $2 at a minimum of every ticket purchase is going to be donated to Homes for Our Troops. Homes for Our Troops is a nationally recognized and top-rated charity that provides specially adapted homes to wounded warriors that were wounded post 9/11. So they do have some unique housing needs if they are now permanently disabled or maybe in a wheelchair. So they have different needs in a home, and Homes for Our Troops does provide this home to them mortgage-free, so cost-free. That will allow them just some opportunities, ease of living, just a new chance at a life that is going to provide them some freedom. So it's a really great charity. We're just really excited to be able to help out.
So we're collaborating with this contribution towards Homes for Our Troops. And the thing that's super cool about this is that it is going to be providing a home mortgage-free to a local vet. We have the first Homes for Our Troops house being constructed in North Dakota. First house in North Dakota. Now, Homes for Our Troops is a nationally recognized organization. They've got 167 that they've built across the country, 50 homes currently under construction. This will be the first house in North Dakota for a local veteran. Corporal Mark Higley will be the recipient of this home, and your participation in our Parade of Homes will help him get this house built.
Right. Can't wait to tell you guys more about it as soon as we come back.
Excellent. Thanks for tuning in to Super Talk 1270. This is Dot Frank with the Bismarck Mandan Home Builders Association.
Right now, 52.
Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Super Talk 1270's Free for All Friday. This is Dot Frank with the Bismarck Mandan Home Builders Association. Thanks for sticking with us. And if you're just joining us, we are on the downhill slide with our special guest, Miss Lindsay Matter, who's the chair of this year's Parade of Homes. We've been talking parade. Lots of homes to view over 4 days. A really great investment for your weekend. $10 gets you in the door. You can pick up a ticket at any parade house. And our $2 contribution to charity this year is really, really exciting because it's going to create a home for a vet at no cost. Mortgage-free home. And we were just talking about that, Lindsay, and how neat of an organization it is. Do you want to share with the listeners, if they're curious as to what this organization is, how it works, and who in particular, because we do have a local veteran who's been designated as the recipient of the local home that's under construction. Where can they go to find out some information about Homes for Our Troops?
So, like Dot mentioned, Home for Our Troops is helping to provide a home to Corporal Mark Higley, who is a local hometown hero, building a house right here in the Bismarck community. If you'd like to check out more information about Homes for Our Troops, which I encourage you to do, you can do so at www.hfotusa.org. They're a great organization. They've built 167 houses to provide some specially adapted homes for veterans to have an opportunity to really live with a little bit of freedom that doesn't restrict them so much to maybe just their wheelchair, but to help them just become a little more free in their own home. So
excellent. So big weekend coming up. Again, those dates are September 25th through the 28th. We start on a Thursday evening, 6 p.m. You can get in to any of the homes on the parade route, and you'll go through the homes until about 8:30 that night. Same time on Friday, 6 to 8:30, and then the homes will be available for viewing from 11 to 5 and then noon to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. So, Lindsay, thanks for joining us this morning.
As always, my pleasure.
Excellent. And for additional information on the Parade of Homes, please visit bmhba.com. Click on Parade of Homes for details. Now I'd like to transition to another guest, and he's becoming kind of a show favorite. We've invited you back several times, which should be a good sign that we really appreciate the commentary that you provide.
No, and I always appreciate being here, Dot. Thank you for inviting me. I always look forward to the chance to speak with your listeners and give any information that I may or may not have on any given day.
Yes, and so if that voice isn't familiar to you, it's Mr. Chad Moldenhauer, who is on our board and is a builder who has some homes in the parade. So let's talk about that. Since we just transitioned from the Parade of Homes, let's talk about those parade homes that you have. Now, as a builder, what's the benefit? We talked about the benefits of a consumer coming through the show, getting to see all sorts of different styles of architecture, building techniques and whatnot, maybe find their next home. From a builder's perspective, though, what's the advantage of participating in the association's parade?
Sure, Dot. People have asked me that in the past. We've been in town for over 35 years, since 1978, and we've continued to have a strong presence in the town of Bismarck. I believe in the Parade of Homes. I believe in the Parade of Homes because I believe it builds your reputation. It's one thing to talk about building quality homes. It's another thing to actually build one and then showcase it. So a lot of the same people you'll see in the parade year in and year out. And although they might not be ready to buy and build a house this year, maybe they'll say some good things to their friends and relatives. Maybe they'll be ready in 2 or 3 years down the road. So for me, what the Parade of Homes is a chance for me to show off the workmanship of my employees and my subcontractors, and really be proud of what we're doing. It's just so rare in any industry that you have the capability of showing your product. I equate it to a CPA. He can't show you the books that he's done and tell you about the job that he's performed at the end of the year. But home building is unique in that our product is tangible. You can come and see it, and you can come compare our product versus some others that are out there and find the builder that suits you best. So it's a great time. I can't say that sometimes when you're on the 4th day of the Parade of Homes, you don't have to have a little coffee to get you through. But it's just a wonderful chance to be able to show our product and display our product to the public. And it's a great opportunity for us to have a group of people that are interested in it to talk to about.
Excellent. So you've got multiple homes in this year's parade, so an opportunity to showcase different styles and price points of your homes. I mean, how do you go about deciding which homes make it into the parade and which don't?
Sure. Well, some years it's a little harder than others. In the past few years, it's been very difficult to get homes in the parade because we've had such a strong demand on our homes that we haven't had homes that were for sale and on the market to display. And in that case, sometimes you get to the point where you're displaying a custom home. But not every customer you build a custom home for really likes the idea or the concept of displaying their home, which they find is very personal to the mass or the general public. So more often than not, I'm trying to incentivize their putting their home in the parade. This year, we've actually we've been a little more fortunate in that our crews have been a little more available. So we've got 3 homes in the parade this year that are still for sale. Now, typically, you'll see some interest in those homes in the days up to the parade. You can have a better chance of selling those homes on the idea that soon there will be several qualified buyers, lots of people running through the homes, or some excitement generated. So it's a great chance for me, this year, because I have some homes for sale, to actually sell some homes. But more often than not, the types of homes and which homes are in the parade are a result of schedule and what we can get to and what we have done. And if it's not a spec home, a home that's still for sale, it's how hard I have to talk a customer into putting their house in the parade, which sometimes is different in different situations.
Well, and the one thing that I think a lot of the residents might not understand unless they've got a relationship with a builder or a friend or family member in the industry is just the amount of work that goes into prepping a home and having it available in time for a parade. This is kind of crunch time for a lot of the contractors out there, and I'm sure they've got their feet to the fire to get carpets in and trim hung. So can you talk a little bit about how what goes into pulling off getting a home prepared? I mean, we've got a short building cycle, but we've got to have a deadline at some point in time and a decision to showcase these homes.
Sure.
So.
Well, I can give you a pretty good concept of that. I just came from a closing with the client, and that client sent me a message on Monday and said, "Hey, Chad, there is no way this house is going to get done by Friday. What is our actual closing date?" And my response, because every customer asks me that in some way, shape, or form at some time during the project. It's not Extreme Makeover Home Edition by any means, but there are a lot of things that get done in the days leading up to closing. And I always explain to my employees or my customers, if I gave my subcontractors, my employees, another week in the house, they would take another week. If I gave them 2 weeks, they'd take another 2 weeks. The fact of the matter is, and those of us that have been in school and have finals, until you've got a date that you're pushing for and you have to get it done, it just doesn't get done. So I had a happy customer this morning. We closed the house. It's done. And he said to me, if I was a betting man in Las Vegas, I definitely would have bet against a closing today. And I think that's just the reality of home construction when we're all busy. The Parade of Homes houses that we've got in place, I've got one of them done. I've got 2 others that are just getting wrapped up. If I walked you through them today, you'd probably say the same thing that my customer did earlier this week. But at the end of the day, they will be done. They will look great, and hopefully they'll be impressive to the parade goers.
Now let's offer up some recommendations to those parade goers. We talked about how new this fall we've got some really exciting features and opportunities in addition to the Homes for Our Troops contribution, which we're really excited about being able to make. We talked about a mobile app which will help navigate people to these homes, a little less frustration and I guess friendly or unfriendly conversation in the car as you've got the navigator and the driver. Let's talk about the parade goers specifically and from a builder's perspective. In order for them to really get the most out of the parade in terms of, house hunting and what they want to do to initiate a discussion with the builder, what in a home should these buyers and potential buyers be looking for? As they're walking through, should they pay particular attention to the foundation or particular attention to the types of finishes? I mean, what could they keep an eye out for to really differentiate between one builder and the next too?
As a person that's, I've worked the parade for so many years, beyond even my ownership of the company, my father's ownership of the company. And year in and year out, you hear a lot of the comments on things that I would say are probably not as seriously impactful to the quality of the home. Wall color or plumbing fixture color, things like that. I think it is important to pick a builder that has similar styles to maybe what you're looking for as a home buyer. But the definition of a custom home and a custom home builder is typically will provide whatever you want. There's been several years where I've had homes in the parade that may not necessarily reflect my personal taste, but reflected the custom home that I was building for the person I was building it for. So I would encourage you to look, maybe look past some of the colors and maybe the tastes of the home, and look more closely at the workmanship. Unfortunately, when you've got a wall that's closed in and taped and painted over and trimmed out, it's really hard to see what the construction was like on those 2x6 walls. It's hard to see what the insulation package looked like. It's hard to see how the foundation was done. But at the end of the day, I think if you're looking at the fit and finish of the millwork, if you're looking at the fit and finish of the tile work, all those finishing touches, if those aren't done correctly, then chances are it reflects the prior steps that follow that or that preceded that. I also tell people to go down the mechanical room too, because it's really hard to make a mechanical room look pretty. And if you've got subcontractors in there that, if the electrical guy's got wiring running all over the place and the HVAC guy has ductwork that doesn't look like it's connected, then chances are that's reflective of the way the rest of the house is constructed. So at the end of the day, I think you get what you pay for, and you've got to be a smart consumer. It's also important that you look beyond that one house that you're looking at and get some references for other homes that have been built. Did they just get lucky on this one house, or have they built a portfolio of strong construction techniques? And I think those are the questions that you need to ask, especially if you're considering a custom home that doesn't yet exist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's good to hear, from your perspective, what they should be looking at, because obviously when you're walking through the home, the things that strike you kind of immediately would be the finishes, the paint color on the wall, or the types of countertop material and the like. But it's important to look at the structure of the home as well, because that's what your investment is in. The other thing that I think is kind of interesting for spectators is to hear from a builder whether or not they can approach you during the Parade of Homes. Now, we're fortunate that, a lot of our builders are present. Sure. Now, they might not be easily identifiable as you're going in as a spectator to the house, but they usually are there in person. Can the spectators feel comfortable and are you excited for them to approach you, ask you questions, find out about you as a builder? I mean,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely encourage you to have a list of questions that you want to ask any builder that you meet. I rarely sell a home where I do not meet the customer, I don't talk to them or answer questions. So if I'm answering questions, that means that I have the potential of making a sale and keeping myself and my employees and my subcontractors busy over the course of the winter and in the future. So please, I would assume that other builders have the same policy, but please approach me and ask questions. And quite frankly, I understand too that a lot of people are going to the Parade of Homes and aren't necessarily thinking about a build, but they're thinking about a remodel or a project they have in their own home. And we always provide information regarding the materials that we're using in the home because, I understand the Parade of Homes is more than just new home construction. It's also home remodeling. It's also selling some flooring and redoing some flooring if you need to. That's all part of the process. And yeah, either whatever your motivation is, we're happy to have you there.
Excellent. With that, please stay tuned. We're talking to Chad Moldenhauer, K&L Homes, about the Parade of Homes. He's got 3 in it this year. You can find those online at bmhba.com. Click on Parade of Homes, and soon you'll be able to download that app and grab those magazines. Stay tuned after the break. More with Chad on Super Talk 1270.
Right now, 52.
You're never more than a few minutes from a weather update here on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us or just tuning in. This is Dot Frank from the Bismarck Mandan Home Builders Association on a Free-for-All Friday, and I have had 2 excellent guests so far this morning. Lindsay Matter, who's the chair of our Parade of Homes, was with us earlier in the program, and now we've got Chad Moldenhauer, K&L Homes, builder extraordinaire, board member, 3 homes, triple threat in this fall's parade of homes.
Good. Keep going.
And I could go on and on and on. But we're talking now about the parade of homes, and we finished the break off by talking about, what the buyers and the spectators for the Parade of Homes should consider, and what they could look for when they're walking through the homes beyond the finishes, kind of what makes builders stand out and what differentiates them, and gave some great advice as far as looking beyond the paint colors, looking at the construction of the home. Hopefully those walls and everything are square and plumb. But if you don't bring those materials with you, you can approach the builders and talk to them about the way that they construct their homes. Maybe see some additional homes that they have to offer to get a good feel and a good fit for your relationship or the potential relationship to follow through with some construction with them. Before we move on to some other topics, because we are a very busy association, I'd like to still talk about the parade and reference kind of its early days. Now, Parade of Homes started in Utah. It was actually Salt Lake's chapter of home builders.
Excellent.
I did do a little bit of research. Salt Lake started the first parade. That was back in 1946 was the first Parade of Homes. Now, our association hasn't been doing parades since that time in particular. We actually began our Parade of Homes back in 1992, which was still some time ago. Sure. So when we look back at 1992, what was happening in the market at that time, rates were pretty attractive back then, 6%. Now, I know we went through some times where rates weren't so appealing, but back in 1992, rates were 6%. The average home price was $122,500. I would take that.
That's the average lot price now.
Absolutely.
That's the starting point.
Back in 1992, the average income was $30,030.
Okay.
Rent hovered around $519 a month, and gas was $1.05 a gallon.
There's been so many times in my experience with that, both at the HBA and on the radio, at the Chamber of Commerce. I've been baffled by her ability to research and reason through things. And these are statistics that I was not aware of, but they sure add some color to our discussion, Dot, and I thank you for them.
Yeah, well, thank you. So put some perspective on where we started and where we've come. Now, you have some experience with home building in particular, grew up with it. I mean, you were exposed from a very early age what the nuances of the industry were. And so, if you could reminisce for a little bit.
Oh, gosh. Well, how far back do you want me to go? I was picking up garbage on the job site when I was 12 and
Aren't
13.
you still doing that, though? I recall you participated in some cleanup activities that we hosted.
That's correct. The HBA had a spring cleanup last year that I took part in. We provided a few garbage trucks, too, and a great event for us. I think obviously what we're doing in order to support some of our wounded veterans in the Parade of Homes this year is indicative of, I think, our attitude in general at the HBA, which is that we're more than just an association of builders. We're an association that lives inside the community, and we want to be part of that community. And when you think of home builders and the HBA, we want you to think of a positive element that's adding to the community and not necessarily just taking from it all the time. So what were the early Parade of Homes like?
Yes.
I think I was reminiscing a little bit about my construction background in K&L Homes, and I definitely didn't start up on top. I started at the bottom of the barrel on the lowest menial jobs, and I don't often pick up garbage anymore. We have other people that can help us with that, but I will say that the Parade of Homes, I don't think it's changed an extreme amount in the last 15 or 20 years. One thing I think is different, though, and we kind of alluded to this in our last conversation that we had here on the radio, is that I think that the consumers are so much more educated than they were back then. There was a time I remember in the K&L repertoire where we had our standard color of oak, and if we got really fancy, we might give you a second color of oak trim and cabinets. We had our white carpet, we had our white walls. And I think for the most part that was acceptable to people 15 or 20 years ago. Well, now we've got house.com, we've got HGTV, we've got the internet, we've got Facebook, and people are sharing pictures all the time. So I think when you go out in the Parade of Homes now, you see a lot more variety of things. I think you see the builder's taste or their customer's taste. And I think you really do see a lot of differences from one home to the next. And I think that's probably the main thing that's changed throughout the years that I've experienced the Parade of Homes. As I want to say, you saw a lot more continuity in the houses 15 or 20 years ago. So,
let's talk about that particular. You referenced HGTV, House.com, of which the association has a badge. So hopefully you get out there, scope out House.com and look for us as an association and find our members who carry our badge. But when you talk about that, Pinterest, Facebook, whatnot, Is that a blessing or a curse from a builder's perspective when you've got, a fresh couple coming in and they've got a whole portfolio of must-haves?
It really depends on what kind of builder you purport to be. I would say, for me, if I have a couple that knows what they want and it's maybe different from what I've done before, I'm all for the challenge. And the reason why I enjoy that challenge is because I brand myself as a custom home builder. So if I'm taking you away from your ideas and trying to force you into doing things the way I typically do things, then I'm probably not a very good custom home builder by definition. If you're more of a production builder in that you've got only a few styles to choose from, only a few colors to choose from, then you're not going to be open to those sorts of things. A couple that knows what they want for me is really your best case scenario. Best case scenario, couple knows what they want and is willing to spend the money that it takes to get what they want. That's a really important piece of that puzzle as well. But I'm all for freedom of choice as long as that choice has been selected prior to the start of construction. If things are being changed and chosen after we come to a point where that decision should have been made already, then sometimes you can raise a few more issues.
So I think one thing that people are always attracted to are those kind of unique stories, right? Those things that really kind of stand out. And when it comes to choices and customization as a custom home builder, could you share with the listeners kind of what was one of those off-the-wall requests that you've received, or one of those, you really want that?
Well, yeah, there's a few that come to mind. I had the pleasure of installing a tube slide in a house last year. It is the first tube slide, the same as you would find on any playground. This slide goes from the main floor to the lower level. And I hope that it doesn't catch on, because it was sure a pain to actually get figured out. But I remember when I was actually showing this couple, and they're just an amazing couple. They've got a testimonial on our website. They're wonderful to work with. But during the first meeting, we had went through kind of a model home, and I had showed them an area underneath the stairs of this house, and she said to me, well, this would be a great spot for a tube slide. And if you know me, or have known me for any amount of time, I'm always ready with a sarcastic remark. And I said, yeah, that would be a great spot for a tube slide, or a fireman's pole, or a swing set, any type of toy that you wanted to incorporate into the house. And she looked at me and she said, no, I want a tube slide. So I looked at her and said, well, then you shall have a tube slide. And it took, I think, about 7 different renditions from the engineers at Rainbow Energy, or Rainbow Play Equipment out in Fargo. But darn it, we have a tube slide, and I was one of the first down that slide, and it was certainly fun. And I hear they're getting a lot of good use out of it. So
excellent.
At the end of the day, whatever they want, that's what they get.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of, working with people, like you said, that know what they want. You can incorporate some fun and very specific items that make their home truly unique. So we talked a lot about the Parade of Homes. Again, for those listeners, remind you of the date, September 25th through the 28th. You can see Chad and K&L's homes, along with many others on the parade route, 37 in all, built by 26 different builders. But I'd like to move on now from the Parade of Homes, because that's not the only thing that we do in this association. As an association, I'm really excited to announce that we hit that 400 mark. We've now surpassed 400 members, which is really exciting for us. Everybody from home builders to subcontractors to associates like Lindsay and the financial institutions that help with home ownership. Some of the things that we have coming up that members can certainly take advantage of. If you're not a member, we welcome you to join to take advantage of these opportunities, include training. So one thing that we do is we work collaboratively with the North Dakota Builders Association, along with some of the safety trainers and providers, workforce safety and insurance, to provide training. We've got OSHA 10 training coming up in October. Now, are you going to be participating in OSHA 10 training, Chad?
Maybe.
So OSHA 10, a lot of times is for your contractors, those subs who need to have that qualification when it comes to safety training. So that'll be taking place October 9th through 10th. We also have our Fall Awards Mixer. Now, this is one that I know you will be attending. The Fall Awards Mixer is where we announce the prize winners, the category winners, when it comes to People's Choice and Judge's Choice from the parade. People have the option to vote. Hopefully they like your homes.
Well, we certainly hope that at the end of the day that we will receive a judge's choice or a people's choice for one or any of our homes that are in the parade. I always try to remind myself and my employees and whoever is working that it's not about the awards. It's about the customer experience and being able to meet people and display your product. But I will say I'm a competitive person, so naturally if I get a reward, I'll go up on stage and I'll accept it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing that's kind of exciting that I'd like to share with people, internet access, please go to nahbnow.com. That's nahbnow.com. Really excited that our National Association of Home Builders featured a local builder. Grant Miller, who owns Flickertail Construction's story, is up available on nahbnow.com. It's really kind of a neat opportunity that they profile young builders or young contractors. Now, Grant was a recipient of the HBA scholarship to Bismarck State College, yes, several years ago, and he pursued the industry and now has his own construction company. You can read about that online at NAHB Now. We are at the top of the hour, so our time with you is dwindling. I'd like to say thank you to Chad Cannell Homes for joining us this morning. Please stay tuned for further programming on Super Talk 1270, and be sure you participate in that parade of homes. Check out all the homes available and help support Homes for Our Troops. It is bmhba.com. This is Dot Frank with the Home Builders. Until next time.
Thank you, Dot.